We gotta believe, guys, live service games are the future. Here to discuss with me is, of course, Zach Sharps. Hey, man.
Hey, how you doing, dude?
Welcome to the future.
To the future.
Where all the
Whoa.
games will be live services. So, if you don't know what a live service game is, it's that you launch the game and then after that you keep adding content to it. There are microtransactions, so if you want that outfit, you can buy it. Stuff like that. So, we kind of see this trend already happening with Ubisoft, and that really paid off. I mean, they had their rocket or their record like quarter like last time. So people are playing these games. They right now have the best-selling game of 2017, Ghost Recon Wildlands. Last year they had the best-selling game of 2016, around like before FIFA and all the other big holiday games hit with The Division. So they're really onto something. They say, okay, right now all our games will be live services. We of course saw it with Rainbow Six Siege that did not really sell well, and then a year later it has it is pretty profitable and has a really large user base, more than when it launched. And normally when a game launched, all the people are jumping onto it, and then you kind of see it go down, and with Rainbow Six it was not the case. So that's pretty incredible. Of course, we saw Steep has been profitable as well. The Crew getting a sequel, 12 million players. So they're already doing it, and they said, yeah, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, The Crew coming. Yeah, South Park, they're not, but all the other games will be live service games. And they have a new multiplayer IP coming probably for an announcement at this year's E3. But not only Ubisoft, I mean Activision, they're also releasing only live service games with Destiny 2 and Call of Duty this year. EA, all the sport games are now live service games. What they make with the Ultimate Team for FIFA, for example, is just insane.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people buying those packs to get the cards and to get better players, and that's like so much money they're making there. And of course, Battlefront 2, Battlefield, also live service games with added support to that game. Blizzard, of course, has been doing this for the longest time with Hearthstone. I mean, right now they have no new games slated to release this year. That's pretty insane. But they keep on adding content to Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm. They just kind of relaunched that. Overwatch, of course, still a big success. So yeah, I think moving forward, I mean, Ubisoft released a lot of games 2016 and early 2017. It seems like they will be slowing down right now because they have these operating live service games. So that means that they still get a steady income from that, keep supporting those games. And yeah, a lot of other huge companies are doing that as well. Bethesda still kind of left behind with the single player games. The Prey, of course, Dishonored 2. And it seems like those games are not really selling well. So is it really true that people are not really interested in that? Of course, what we already kind of discussed with the Phil Spencer topic, where Phil, and this is also makes sense for this topic, is that Phil said, live service games are the future, multiplayer type of games as well, and that because single player games don't have the impact anymore. Although you made a great point saying that, but for first party, it still makes sense because you give a value to the platform. But for third party, it really is like hard to have. It's hard to invest because games are getting more and more expensive to make. So we even see it with Final Fantasy 15, for example, a big RPG getting steady updates. With New Game Plus, new quests. So
what it really comes down to is the fact that even older games like Hearthstone are still bringing in $400 million, a year. That was 2016, and then we see games like The Division that raked in a ton of money. That for the most part was a pretty hollow game at launch, and they built it up over time, and now it's a little bit better than that. But it's just, the point is that despite the fact that people may not like the fact that these games are as big as they are, because they would rather see maybe more single player games, of the quality of like Horizon or The Witcher 3, it's the fact that these make so much money that we're going to be seeing it because there's lower entry for much higher reward. Like a game like League of Legends, for example, that I don't even know their revenue, but they make a ton of money, hand over fist, the most popular game ever, I think. I mean, it has like 30+ million active users. It fills stadiums full of people watching championships. It's a ridiculous phenomenon that we see with these service-based games, and it's been building over time. This is not something that just sort of happened out of nowhere. These are the reason why the PC market that is still larger than the console market is because these service-based games, revenue-wise, are just stomping everything else in existence. And that's why we're seeing service-based games from a free-to-play perspective come onto the consoles, because it's another opportunity for these games to make even more money. We're seeing, you know, Marvel Heroes coming over. We saw Skyforge. We saw Paladins. We saw Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn back when the PS4 initially launched. We saw that release. We also saw DC Universe Online over there too.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of these games that are just raking in tons and tons of money. And what they do is they don't necessarily even have bad models. Some of them have really, you know, decent payment models. Some of them, you know, that are free to play, and also some that are buy to play. For example, you know, Ghost Recon Wildlands. I don't like the game, but as far as I saw, as far as their monetization strategy, it seems fine. You know, For Honor, same thing, and the list goes on. So there's ways to do it without screwing over consumers, but I do understand the sentiment from, you know, the average consumer who just likes like single player games, that they're gonna start seeing more stuff that they don't really care for added into these games that might take away from things that they actually do like. So it's a mixed bag, but business wise, this is a gold mine, and that's why we're gonna keep seeing these companies mine it and mine it and mine it until the mine runs out. You know, they're just gonna keep going.
Yeah, because I mean, what this means is that they want to keep you in the game for as long as possible. When Destiny 2 will come out, they will release steady updates, but this means that you can't like focus on Destiny 2 and focus on Red Dead Redemption 2's online that is coming out as well. So you gotta have to make choices. So what I think we will see is that right now everyone is fighting for people's time, but when publisher X will also get this new multiplayer game, I think some people will be like, I don't want to start, like what happened with MMOs as well, where World of Warcraft came out and a lot of people were jumping on that, and then a lot of other MMOs kind of did the same, and they asked you to start over again and invest a lot of time. And after a while, a lot of people were like, okay, I kind of am tired of World of Warcraft, but at least I got my character there, I got all my progression there, so I don't want to jump into a new multiplayer game or a new service-based game that will take me a lot of time and I start all over. So I think that will be an interesting like kind of bubble, the end of the bubble, where if suddenly there are so many games that keep adding content to it, that keep expecting you to come back, where in the end you can't come back, you have to focus on those games, and then only the big titles will remain. But what I think you made a great point with that some models are good and some are bad. I mean, that's what kind of a lot of people that are purely like single player people see this as a bad trend, that service-based games are kind of taking over. I mean, you can't deny it. This is like where it's going, and like I already said, games are getting more expensive. So for a publisher to release a game and then add for way less money new content to it that will make them like more money than they invested, it's of course a great thing. You already have an audience for that game. You already know, okay, people will be excited. We already have the engine. We already have everything. So just add new content is way more, it's way easier than creating a whole new game and having people starting to care about that again. So, but some people think, okay, and I think there are some good examples of a bad system, and I think, for example,
a ton of them.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that some of the Ubisoft games are a bad example. For example, For Honor, where players started to figure out, okay, if I want to unlock everything, and you can't deny there are people that want to unlock everything. If you have so many executions, if you have so many skins for your character, of course you want to unlock everything. But people started to figure out, okay, so if I'm not spending any money, if I want to unlock everything, I have to play for 2 years, multiple hours a day, something like that. It's just insane, and they keep on adding to it, so you will never be done. So
For completionists, it's terrible. Yeah, certainly. Yeah. There's a lot of examples out there. Like, I'm sure even with Rainbow Six Siege, even though I find that payment model completely fine, I'm sure someone who's like super completionist is like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to spend years doing all this. And that's where the issue comes in, is if you're a completionist type person, then you're going to start noticing that these payment models are not very friendly in that regard. You sort of got to pick and choose what you want, and in that regard you can unlock it pretty fast, but if you want to unlock everything, you're going to have a very, very difficult time.
You have to pay. That's just one thing, and people will be looking at that, because I think that Ubisoft did that as well. Like, yeah, we're adding a lot of that stuff to the game, because people can also buy it for real world money. So and that's of course where people are kind of getting scared. Where are some choices being made because they can get more money, or are some choices being made because it's good for the game? And mostly it's because of the microtransactions. They kind of make this, I think that this with For Honor, this was really the case, where they kind of make this progression system with the freaking microtransactions in mind. While this is a full price game, this should not be the case. This should just be this should just be something to make the process go even faster, but it should be at a steady pace right now. And the new patch that just released added like a faster rate, so they kind of say, okay, you guys were right, let's make it a little bit faster. So that's of course one example, like you already said. But
and a good example, just to add on, like this to sort of counter this, is it's also for single player games. You know, The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 was fantastic, the way that CD Projekt Red executed that game from launch until now. You know, they not only released free DLC that added onto the game cosmetic wise, and then they also released a very long expansion called Hearts of Stone, which was relatively cheap. It expanded the storyline, and this allowed you to continue playing the character that you built up over time. And then also Blood and Wine, which is even larger and offered even more content and a lot more progression for your character and a lot more hours for you to play in that world. So there's different ways to do it from a multiplayer standpoint and also a single player standpoint. And from a single player standpoint, it was lucrative for CD Projekt Red to do that. Unfortunately though, it still comes back to the same thing. These online games still completely destroy that revenue in a long-term, sentiment. Like it's really one of those things where if you look at it from a business angle, it makes sense to go to service-based online games, because single-player games just take way more time for a possibly less return on investment. But most of the time you're not really gonna you're gonna break even a little bit over that.
If you are Sony, you have like some extra, like you said, with the for first party games, it makes a lot of sense because you create value. For Sony, it makes sense to create these as Uncharted games, because they can have bundles with those games as well. They don't need those games to keep on going. On the other hand though, we have Uncharted multiplayer, and yes, there are loot boxes in there as well that you can pay for real world money. So
PC, it makes zero sense to make single player games to most of the case, because you don't really have to create value for the platform, because you are your own platform when you're on the PC. Like Steam is there, but Steam is only there as a gateway to buy games. It's not really a platform like Sony or Microsoft has. So it's really one of those things where on the PC you definitely see a lot more online games because of that reason. But you also see single player games have success too, but it never really comes back to, like, even if you look at Fallout 4 and how much money that game made, you can just look at pretty much any free-to-play game out there that's one of the top dogs, like League of Legends, Dota 2, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm even. You can look at what World of Warcraft's doing. You can look at what Final Fantasy XIV's doing, DC Universe Online, Star Wars The Old Republic, even really old games too. I think King of Fighters Online is a super huge hit still for some reason. I have no reason, no idea why. Crossfire as well, a really crappy game that can run on a netbook, still makes a ton of money, and it surpasses all these single player games. So it's really sad to some extent, but it's also, it makes sense because that's what people want, obviously. So that's what these people are doing. You know, that's what these developers are investing their time into, is making these games, and it's not bad, but it could be for people. It has to be
right.
Yeah, it has to be good.
It has to do it right.
Yeah, it has to be good.
You said it with Bethesda as well. I mean, they have Elder Scrolls Online, and they are seeing what all the other people are seeing as well with Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, that game is doing really well. The ESO Plus, like some sort of subscription that you can get for the game, $15 I think per month.
Yep.
Is always in the top 10 of the most bought like DLC for PlayStation. They're coming with Morrowind. They want to do an expansion like that every year. So they're already seeing that, while they're still with their other games in some sort of in the old way of doing things. And what you said with The Witcher 3, I mean, Cyberpunk, that is going to be a service-based game as well. Like, we can't deny it. They're also like looking at that and saying, Witcher 3 was really great, a lot of praise, a lot of people liked it, but there's so much more we can do, and I think that we will see that with Cyberpunk. So, I mean, only for first-party games. Nintendo's, of course, a different thing as well, although Splatoon wasn't really their live service game. Zelda is getting DLC now, what the heck. Mario Kart 8, of course, on the Wii U also got DLC.
Everybody's doing it.
Well, a lot of people are doing it, and I think that this trend is great. Like, I'm like sitting here kind of criticizing. I made a video about that. I think that Guerrilla Games kind of made not a great decision by not releasing some free goodies or some paid DLC for Horizon just 1 week after the other. Just a new side quest. Here you have a new outfit to get you back into the game, because they're right now having a game that a lot of people are super happy with. They want to keep playing, but Guerrilla Games is not giving them a reason. So I like this trend, and of course Guerrilla Games, it's different like situation where they really put a lot of time and effort in creating this game. It was a really big, like it could have gone wrong and that would be the end of the studio. So they really there was more going on in that thing. But I think that for Horizon Zero Dawn moving forward, I think that would be a great business model as well. So I mean, you have to look at it this way. Like, do you want to keep playing your favorite games? It just sucks that the favorite game you waited for so long and you finish it in 10 hours and then you're gone. Like, of course, with Horizon, this was not the case. But I'm like in a position where I know what games I like and I want to keep playing those games. So if the developers keep giving me a reason to come back, I will. And I will totally pay for some extra things to support the game even further. And you have to look at it that way, and just don't support the games that are doing it the wrong way, like maybe a For Honor or whatever. So that's kind of my stance, and I kind of like this trend, because it would be sad if Horizon Zero Dawn released, they will do one big expansion pack and then say, see you guys in 2 years. And they're like, you guys made this freaking amazing open world that you can just add more content to. I just want to play more of it, but you guys are leaving it alone, and that's kind of
it's really a value thing too. I mean, I look at my most played single player game, and it's The Witcher 3 at around 60 hours. Persona 5 obviously is going to surpass it because the main storyline is about 100 hours. But then I look at my most played multiplayer game, at least one that I can easily clock. Most likely, my most played one is World of Warcraft, which is probably well over 1,000 hours. But the one that I could look at easily on Steam is Rocket League at 760 hours. And you look at how much I bought into that game, probably spent about $20 on it. You know, divide up to 760 hours into it, and you get like a super huge value right there. Where then if you look at The Witcher 3, it's like $1 an hour. So the value as well for these games is astonishing. I mean, people spend so many hours on them, and they spend way less per hour, you know, dollar-wise, to play them. So they get a ton of value out of them. It's not a bad thing overall. I'm happy with the trend. And like you said, the best thing ever is to speak with your wallet. If you don't like this trend, do not at all support it. That's just a simple fact. If you see a game that is doing the wrong things, don't support it at all. Because if you buy it to, form an opinion on it instead of just looking on reviews or whatever, that's like the dumbest thing you could do, because you just gave them your money and now you're complaining about it. They don't have to do anything. They already have your money. So you gotta make sure you make a well-informed decision. There's a lot of resources to do that before a game releases, and that's why you don't pre-order. That's why you wait until, you know, some people come out with some opinions, you see some gameplay, you form an opinion yourself, and then you know, commit your money. And that's the most important thing. Your money is your power, and that's why you want to make sure that you spend it the right way.
No, totally, I agree. And yeah, I mean, I think that in the end, everyone will be like happy with this model if your favorite game gets supported like all the time, right? Well, why would you not like to play Horizon Zero Dawn for a full year? I mean, that's like my take. I want to keep playing that game, but there's no incentive. But if they gave me an incentive, I would be playing that game all day. So it's really about maybe the games that you like haven't supported that model yet, but with Square Enix looking into this model as well, Ubisoft already doing it, Bethesda also seeing a lot of success with Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, I mean, everyone is like kind of looking at this, so yeah, it looks to be the future, and yeah, it will be interesting to see if indeed at the end people will kind of enjoy a more small experience as well, because they don't have time to put all their money and time in all those big surface-based games that simply take a lot of time. So it will be interesting to see. But Zach, I think that we will be covering the gaming industry in the future, so we will see what happens. Subscribe for more discussions. Let us know what you think. Do you enjoy this trend, or are you like, get away, don't do it? But also, if you don't like it, do you understand it? Like, do you understand why this is going? And what games that are not a service game right now would you like to see maybe become a service game, like Horizon Zero Dawn? Thanks a lot for watching. Like the video if you did, and Zach, I'll speak to you next time. Thanks, man. Goodbye.
Yep, goodbye.